In ancient chronicles covered with the dust of oblivion, 5 kings are mentioned, each of whom reigned for no more than 444 days. This was the exact amount of time needed for each contender to complete the path to coronation, a peculiar tradition rooted in the sacred texts. This period became known as the succession of changing kings. A once prosperous kingdom had withered into a decaying fiefdom. Fields that had yielded bountiful harvests were now overgrown with weeds. Trade caravans had all but vanished, and the finest of its people had abandoned their homeland in search of a better future. Few dared to hope that you, the last of an ancient dynasty, would succeed in breaking this vicious cycle. The wise patriarch went to the throne of light to pray for you. Before leaving, the patriarch vowed to return in exactly 444 days to preside over your coronation. Until then, you will remain a dauphin, a mere shadow of a future king. As you ascended the throne, the sky above the castle was gray and gloomy. Doubt swirled around you, denser than the clouds overhead. But somewhere in the depth of your mind, a thought flickered. Your fate has not been sealed yet. Time loomed over you like an unrelenting weight, but one chance remained. The only chance to prove that you were more than just another failure on the throne, to show that you were the one who could restore the light and glory of the kingdom. Break the succession of changing kings at any cost. Survive to be crowned king.
The hall was cloaked in dim light, with the flickering glow of the fireplace casting long shadows on the walls, lending the surroundings an air of mystery. You stood by the massive window, gazing out at the distant hills. Your thoughts drifted between past and future, fears and hopes intertwining. Faint footsteps echoed in the corridor, the heavy door opened soundlessly, and Adrian the Holloway entered the room. Of course, you had heard of him. His silver hair and trimmed beard gave him the appearance of a wise figure from ancient legends. The steward paused at the threshold, regarding you with a look of respect, tinged with subtle sorrow. "Your Grace," he began softly, his voice smooth and warm like velvet spreading through the room. "Allow me to offer my congratulations on your ascension to the throne. I am Adrian I. Holloway, your steward and henceforth your loyal servant. I am here to assist you in this trying hour." The hall was cloaked in dim light, with the flickering glow of a faint, barely perceptible smile flickered across Adrian's lips as he gestured toward the table, where a map of the kingdom lay spread out. "Let us start with the fundamentals," he began. "Here on this map are all the lands of our kingdom. Every region, every village, every forest, and every river. This is your kingdom, and you must know it as well as the back of your hand." Adrian's long, graceful fingers glided over the map, bringing its features to life with each motion. "You rule not just over the land, but over its people," he continued, his tone taking on a sterner edge. "Every soul, from the humblest peasant to the mightiest noble, looks to you for justice and wisdom. But understand this: justice is a concept that varies from one person to the next, and sometimes wisdom demands actions that seem to defy justice. Equally vital is maintaining a respectable level of the kingdom's defense. The lower it falls, the more pirates, bandits, and unscrupulous neighbors will seek to exploit it. A weakened healthcare invites epidemics and disease. Threats no fortress walls, no matter how strong, can keep at bay." You listened intently, your expression growing grave as the weight of your duties began to settle upon you. Justice and wisdom. You had never been prepared to bear such responsibilities as a ruler. Adrian noticed your unease, and with a gentler tone, offered reassurance. "Do not worry, Your Majesty. I'm here to assist you. We shall take small steps. Each day, choose 1 or 2 tasks I have marked on the map, and act according to where your heart and reason guide you." The steward led you through the narrow corridors of the castle, past ancient tapestries and stone arches. You stopped before a massive door adorned with intricate carvings. Adrian produced a key that he always carried and opened it. He guided you to a large writing desk made of dark wood, where neatly arranged project cards were laid out. Here is a list of potential projects for construction and people you may consider hiring, sire, he explained, gesturing toward the scrolls. Oddly enough, despite the succession of changing kings, the castle's vaults still hold a decent stockpile of gold. There is also a fair amount of stone, timber and ore in the storerooms. But your time is limited, and these resources must be spent wisely. Use your royal initiative prudently. It is your most critical resource. He paused, allowing you to absorb the gravity of his words. You must decide whether to repair the heavily worn fortress walls or to strengthen the royal guard. Perhaps it's better to provide work for the commoners, so they don't idle about aimlessly. Do you enjoy good health? Adrian's gaze shifted to you with a hint of concern. Because there are no physicians left in the castle. The last city doctor departed for Thorn a week ago, right after your predecessor's funeral. Adrian sighed, his tone lowering and becoming more serious. I bring this up because King Radwin, whom the people mockingly called Radwin Forgive Me Please, humiliated the commoners to such an extent that they hung him in the town square. And King Gilbert the Glutton fared no better. His unbridled appetite led to his demise. He died at the dining table. Rumor has it he was poisoned, though no proof was ever found. Adrian's gaze swept over the study. Every decision you make will shape the fate of this kingdom, sire, and affect how your subjects perceive you. Should the favor of any of the four influential factions, the commoners, the army, the aristocrats, or the church, fall to critical levels, the consequences will be dire. As of today, you likely have no idea who supports or opposes you. Hiring an informant would be a wise first step. Adrian led you further through the corridors, eventually arriving at the throne hall, a modest room with walls adorned by banners and a single throne standing against the stone wall. Sire, this is the throne hall, Adrian began, gesturing toward the throne. Here is where you will make swift decisions, pass judgment, and hear reports. He fixed you with a serious look, emphasizing the gravity of his next words. Before you end your day, remember to visit me here in the throne hall, Adrian continued. News often arrives by the end of the day, along with urgent matters requiring your judgment. This is crucial to keeping your finger on the kingdom's pulse. You nodded, understanding the significance of this ritual. Adrian took the cue to proceed. Once you have attended to matters in the throne hall, you may retire for the night, and the next day will begin. It's vital to hold out for 444 days, as many forces will try to thwart you. Those uninterested in the kingdom's prosperity, those seeking their own gain, external enemies, and internal conspirators. Adrian paused, giving you time to absorb his words, then added with quiet conviction, "And don't dismiss the curse of ill fortune, even if you don't believe in destiny. Stay vigilant, sire, and may Lumen's light guide you."
The harder the training, the harder the battle. You accepted General Bardarian's invitation to attend the annual military drills near the fortress of Akor, located in the northeastern part of your kingdom. This event was an opportunity to witness the finest soldiers of the realm in action. The fortress of Akor loomed atop a hill, its walls and garrison serving as the shield between your kingdom and the Duchy of Thorn. Thorn's golden age is long past, and today it poses no threat. But 30 years ago, a young Bardarian earned his first scar beneath these very walls. The gates of the fortress creaked open, and you rode inside on horseback. The inner courtyard was bustling with soldiers, their faces a mix of curiosity and interest. General Bardarian stood at the base of the main tower, greeting you with a broad smile and a welcoming gesture. "Welcome to Akor, Your Majesty. We are honored by your presence at our annual drills." You followed the general through the fortress, observing the soldiers' training. Warriors honed their skills on training dummies, shot arrows at targets, and performed coordinated group assaults. This ritual was not only a demonstration of their prowess, but also a testament to their discipline and endurance. Time flew by, and the drills concluded with exhibition bouts using practice weapons between the best soldiers. Watching the mastery of your finest troops wielding their swords, you felt reassured about the kingdom's future. "Your Majesty," Bardarian said, "I know you trained extensively in your youth with both sword and rapier. Would you care to demonstrate your skills against one of my soldiers? I am certain it would leave the impression we desire." It was not as bad as one might have thought. You deflected a series of powerful blows from your opponent quite well, but quickly found yourself out of breath. The lack of training took its toll. In the end, your opponent knelt suddenly and delivered a strong strike to your legs. You fell and decided that was enough. Tomorrow would already involve half a day spent in bed recovering from the blow. Yet no one shamed you for the fight. A king does not need to be the best warrior, but must never fear danger. Matters of the port. The capital's docks welcome incoming ships with their clean quayside, bright orange tiled roofs, and the scent of 1,000 spices. It is nothing like the usual expectations of a trading port, with its drunkards, the aroma of stale sweat, and the colorless vomit splashing onto cobblestones after days of being tossed about on the waves. The credit for the pristine state of the capital's waterfront lies with the old aristocratic family of House Nightingale. They own most of the buildings and warehouses in the port. However, this cleanliness comes at a steep cost. Local merchants pay exorbitant rents, additional levies, and endure the absence of the city guard. By decree of King Radwin, please forgive me, the city watch no longer patrols the port. On one hand, this denies them the opportunity to earn a little extra from foreign traders. On the other, it clearly weakens the capital's security. A united group of merchants and city guards has approached you, demanding not only the repeal of House Nightingale's privileges, but also a significant curbing of their excessive demands in the capital's port. Your noble ancestors neglected the port's issues for far too long, and rushing to solve them now would only cause harm. Undoubtedly, Nightingale has done an excellent job for the glory of the kingdom, though primarily for his own benefit. His motives are understandable, but over time, all control over the port must gradually return to the crown. Today is not that day. Merchants will be exempt from royal taxes for 1 year, and the soldiers will receive a bonus. We will revisit this matter soon. The butler's advice. The butler catches you poring over documents belonging to your predecessors, the previous Dauphin. Much of what you have read today could only be described as drivel, such as Gilbert the Glutton's 76 donut recipes or Magnus the Heretic's annotated chess games. However, a significant portion was penned by Sigurus the Recluse, perhaps the most accomplished of the changing kings. He was only 4 days shy of coronation. You stretch lazily, allowing your still young bones to creak like those of an elder. Your Majesty, Adrian the Firmir Holloway begins, his tone reverent but firm. May I offer some advice? Everyone is eagerly awaiting a sign of your favor. Countess Ivinchel, Holy Father Lumiel, and General Bardarian have already arrived in the capital. It is widely believed that the first audience granted by a new ruler signals where their loyalties will lie. You recall your conversation with the butler yesterday and decide to probe further. And if my Majesty were to show favor to the common folk, who should I meet with? For a moment, the all-knowing Adrian freezes, caught off guard. Then he recovers and answers, "Sir, that is somewhat unconventional, as the common folk have no formal representative. However, I suppose you could forego meeting the 3 high-ranking figures and instead visit the nearest village. Such an act would send a very clear message." When the villagers of Tuhu saw the ornate royal carriage rolling down their dusty streets in the middle of the day, they dropped everything and rushed to greet their new sovereign. At first you felt awkward, and the people mirrored your unease. But soon the initial shyness faded, and before long you were seated at a rustic table, bellowing folk songs like one of the kings of old and sharing a meal with your subjects. News of the people's king spread far beyond Tuhu. Stingy and even stingier. In the early days of your reign, news arrived of the death of Igar Pagan, a notorious miser aristocrat and possessor of untold wealth. His name was synonymous with greed and hoarding, and even in his final days, he remained true to his principles. Having no direct heirs, his many relatives eagerly awaited the chance to claim the vast fortune hidden within the depths of his desolate mansion. However, Igarpagan's will proved a fitting epitaph to his life of stinginess. In his final decree, he ordered, "My wealth shall go to no one, bury it with me." This command caused a wave of outrage and debate, and the matter was brought before you as the supreme arbiter, with the hope that you would bring justice to such an absurd situation. By the end of the week, small outposts on the borders with Kokeo and Dalaman began seeing significant fortifications and winter-ready housing. Soldiers received generous rations and new weapons. Glory to the Dauphin! If the stars are lit, You toss and turn restlessly in bed. The pillow is far too soft and your neck quickly stiffens. My first royal decree should ban soft pillows, you think, rising from the bed. In the fireplace, a single log crackles faintly as it burns out. Sleep eludes you on your first night as sovereign. Will you be able to bear such a heavy burden? Will you even survive to see the end of next week? Questions upon questions. Suddenly, a brilliant flash lights up the room, and you hurriedly step out onto the balcony. A star! A falling star! The palace guards shout in excited voices below. Many witnessed the falling star tonight and saw it as a good omen for the start of the new king's reign. However, there were also those who believed this reign would be as brilliant and fleeting as the star's descent.